your response was going to be. I thought there was depending on how the evening went last night, I thought it might.
Morning, it's 10 a.m. We ask you to please rise for opening prayer if you're able to, and pledge of allegiance before we convene our Commissioners' public meeting. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful morning that you granted us. And Father, this Sunday we'll celebrate Grandparents' Day. We thank you for the wisdom, love, and paths that have been shared with their children and now their children's children. Children are treasures of life, and to have grandchildren is an additional blessing. Provide them with good health so they can enjoy their families in their twilight years. Father, as we remember the beauty of the family on Sunday, quickly our focus will be on the remembrance of 9/11 on Wednesday. We remember the innocence and security that was ripped from our nation that changed the landscape forever. Innocent men and women boarded flights, and many went to work never to return home. First responders started their normal day, only to turn into a nightmare. Lives full of beauty, sacrifice, and promise, gone in the blink of an eye. On that day, evil did not care about a person's nationality, wealth, sex, or religion, but you sent ones to help that focused on humanity and love and helping people in need. The true soul of a nation and humanity was revealed in its open hearts. We thank you that we stood as a nation. You've richly blessed our land for nearly 2.5 centuries. However, we see that same hate that was displayed on that fateful morning still evident today. We pray for your love and wisdom to flow throughout our land. Do not let us self-destruct us with the same hate that caused such loss and heartbreak on that day. Father, we are faced with many challenges, but we know you have the blueprints. As you look to our parents and grandparents, as we look to our parents and grandparents for that wisdom and guidance, may we look to you for the first divine wisdom and guidance, as only you have made us and know what's best for us. So on this September day, we humbly ask you for these things in accordance of your will. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, at this time, we'll convene our Commissioners' public meeting. I'll ask for approval of the minutes of the previous meeting.
I will make a motion.
I'll second.
First, aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do you have any public comment on agenda items only? Stay in line. Maybe, maybe not. We'll come back to those. Okay, we have proclamations. We have 2 today. First is for the Hunger Action Month. September is Hunger Action Month. Whereas hunger and food insecurity are issues of vital concerns in Pennsylvania, where according to Feeding America, over 1.5 million Americans, and 1 in 8 Pennsylvanians, and 1 every 6 children experience food insecurity. In Lycoming County, 1 in 8 neighbors and 1 in 5 children are food insecure. And whereas adequate, nutritious food has become more expensive and out of reach for many of our neighbors, food costs increasing more than 27%, leading to record demand for charitable food. And whereas food insecurity, the condition of limited or uncertain access to food, is associated with numerous adverse social and health outcomes, and is a critical public health issue. And whereas Lycoming County is committed to taking steps to combat hunger in every corner of our community, provide additional resources to those in need. And where Lycoming County is committed to working with the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank, educate people about their role and importance of food banks in addressing hunger, raising awareness of the need to devote more resources and attention to hunger issues. And whereas the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank distributed over 68.5 million pounds of food in fiscal year 2024 to Pennsylvanians experiencing food insecurity. In Lycoming County alone, just shy of 4 million pounds of food were distributed. Whereas public and private entities, including policymakers, business leaders, community activists, farmers, concerned citizens, hunger relief organizations, must collectively work to address food insecurity within the Commonwealth. And whereas this month of September has been designated nationwide as Hunger Action Month to raise awareness of the issue of hunger and mobilize our legislator and public to help and understand hunger in America. Now, therefore, we, the Lycoming County Commissioners, do hereby recognize September 2024 as Hunger Action Month, Lycoming County, Pennsylvania. We call this to our attention of our citizens. Signed by Lycoming County Commissioner Scott L. Metzger, Mark C. Sortman, and Mark Bucina. Today, we have with us someone from the Pennsylvania Food Bank, I believe, Pam Hicks.
Thank you.
Yes.
I was going to say on the agenda, it said Tracy Haas. I'm like, no, Pam Hicks.
Yes, could you please?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I'm going to keep it very short. As they said, September is Hunger Action Month, and it's just an awareness across the United States that hunger is real in our community. And because of all the partners and all the support that is available in this community, we are making great strides in meeting the needs of closing that meal gap and making sure that everyone has nutritious food. So it's just an acknowledgement to everyone to say thank you for all the hard work that is done to help combat hunger in our communities.
Thank you, Pam. We have a proclamation and I'd like to present it to you and get a picture with you. Commissioners, you have anything you'd like to say?
No, thank you. The food bank does a wonderful job. This is for our community.
Yes.
Yeah, good work.
Thank you.
Today, I also have the honor of a proclamation for the Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas childhood cancer is the leading cause of death by disease in children. Whereas 1 in 285 children in the United States will be diagnosed by their 20th birthday. Whereas 46 children per day, or 16,790 children per year, are diagnosed with cancer in the United States. And whereas the average age of diagnosis is 6 years old, and whereas 80% of childhood cancer patients are diagnosed late and with metastatic disease, whereas on average, there's been a 0.6% increase in the incidence per year since the mid-1970s, resulting in an overall incident increase of 24% over the last 40 years. And whereas 2/3 of childhood cancer patients will have chronic health conditions as well as a result of their treatment toxicity, with 1/4 being classified as severe to life-threatening. Whereas approximately 1/2 of childhood cancer family rates with associated financial toxicity due to out-of-pocket expenses as considerable to serve, whereas in the last 30 years, only 6 new drugs have been approved by the FDA to specifically treat childhood cancer. Whereas the National Cancer Institute recognizes the unique research needs of childhood cancer, the associated need for the increased funding to carry this out. And whereas hundreds of nonprofit organizations at the local and national level, including the American Childhood Cancer Organization, helping children with cancer and their families cope through education, emotional, and financial support. And whereas researchers and healthcare professionals work diligently, dedicating their expertise to treat and cure children with cancer. And whereas too many children are affected by this deadly disease, and more must be done to raise awareness to find a cure. Now therefore be resolved that we, Scott L. Metzger, Chairman, Mark C. Sortman, Vice Chairman, and Mark Messina, Secretary, Commissioners of the County of Lycoming, do hereby proclaim September 2024 as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. We encourage all Americans to observe Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, support this cause that so deeply impacts families in every community across the country. Thank you. At this point, I would like to introduce our controller of the county, Krista Rogers, for a few comments.
Thank you, Commissioners. This is a special year as we come up on November, which will be 5 years off treatment for Olivia. There are those we have met along the way that have not been able to celebrate being a survivor. There's still not enough new treatments. There's still too many kids being diagnosed and treated for childhood cancers. We are beyond grateful to have our baby girl here in her first year of college, healthy and a survivor. We won't stop advocating for more for the kids because children are more precious than gold. Even almost 5 years after the end of treatment, there are after effects from treatment of the beast. Things we may have been warned about during treatment, but they're not something you remember when you're in the midst of fighting for your child's life. And outshoot of fighting for more and better chemotherapies, there has to be a better after treatment and look at the mental and emotional toll the treatment takes on a child, not just physically, but holistically. There are pockets in the mainstream medical arena that are starting to take this seriously, but the toll these treatments take on a developing human are not just physical. Thankfully, her doctors took it seriously enough to have a baseline information and post-treatment evaluations for some things. However, I wonder if this is standard, and if it is not, it should be. I come each year to bring this month in front of your minds for those of us that face the beast with a child diagnosed with cancer. It isn't 1 month out of the year. And daily there are new families learning they have to face the beast. We need better for our children. A few organizations and people I want to bring to attention today: American Childhood Cancer Organization, a community of families, survivors, and friends who have been affected by childhood cancer and adolescent cancer. We offer our community support, information, and advocacy. We are their voice. They highlight gold ribbon heroes. In July 2024, a local fighter, Olivia P., was highlighted, and in July 2019, our Olivia was highlighted. The Make-A-Wish organization that supports our local areas, Make-A-Wish Greater Pennsylvania and West Virginia, restore hope with a life-changing wish. The wish granters are local people that work with kids and are granted hopes and dreams during their illness and very dark times. Camp Victory, a special camp for kids in Millville, and Ronald McDonald House Danville, which hosts Camp Dosed, a camp for kids receiving cancer treatment at Camp Victory. Think Big is an organization out of Lewisburg, and I'm honored to have their executive director, Diane Dutko, here, which I would like to surrender the podium to her to make some comments today.
Just so you know, I might cry. Thank you. Thank you all for taking this time to make have recognition on the children who battle pediatric cancer, and especially their families. That's why Think Big exists. Think Big will be 10 years old this year, and what we do is really simple. We help families who are battling pediatric cancer by helping them pay usual household expenses, like their mortgage, like their car payments. We allocate $5,000 a year per family. And to date, we've given away about $1.5 million. I'm pretty new to the position, just 9 months, but my story is really simple. I was a board member of Think Big for 4 years prior to my being hired as executive director. And the reason I was interested in being on that board is I lost a granddaughter to pediatric cancer. She was 3 years old. You talked about the drugs. You talked about the statistics. She had neuroblastoma, which is one of the more rare cancers. And the first 5 months of chemo did not even move the needle for her. They mixed up a cocktail of sorts to get her to her first stem cell, which she did okay, although she wouldn't eat. She had to have a feeding tube. 3 weeks later, she went back to CHOP. The second round of chemo for the stem cell killed her. Major organ failure. 3 years, 2 weeks before her 4th birthday. So she fought for 10 and a half months, ended her life being free of cancer. And we've got to help these families. We've got to do better at the drugs and making sure that these families are taken care of, because their life is turned upside down in an instant once they hear those words, your child has cancer. Can't imagine what that does. One parent is probably going to have to stop working or reduce their hours. And the expenses don't go down. They go up. There's travel to the appointments. There's all sorts of things that you don't realize. Having this recognition today brings it to light, gives information, and gives people the opportunity to give. So as the new executive director for Think Big, on behalf of my granddaughter and all the others that battle pediatric cancer, thank you.
I also wanted to highlight Cars for a Cause. I don't know who in this room knows Charlie Lombard, but he's from Hughesville. And he has a Facebook page. And in July, he hosts car shows that the money raised goes to a cause. And in July, Olivia and Bronwyn Keener, who is here today, and I'd like her to come up and stand with me because I'd like to talk about her a little bit more. They were the guest hosts, and they chose Think Big as the beneficiary of the funds raised from the car show in July. I believe it was over $800. And it's fitting that Grandparents' Day is coming because her grandma's here today. But the organizations that Charlie chooses often benefits children and often benefits families in the area that are facing hardships. I brought some printouts with links to all these organizations that I talked about. I'll put them on the back because these organizations need our support. Bronwyn is a survivor of B-cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia, and I'll never forget the day that I got the phone call. I've known Bronwyn's parents since before she was born, so I've known Bronwyn since she was a child. And when Olivia got diagnosed with T-cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia, their entire family supported everything that we went through because her mom was Olivia's 4-year-old daycare teacher. And they were at fundraisers. They supported shows that Olivia was in. And as Bronwyn grew, she became a thespian. She became a dancer. And she's an amazing, intelligent, talented artist as well. So when I got the phone call that now she was facing the beast and their family was facing the beast, we've done everything that we could to support them as well. So we are a community. Think Big has supported them as well. And now they support Think Big. So childhood cancer makes the best of friends, the worst of enemies against the beast. And we all need to do what we can because you don't know when it will become you. And I would hope that no one else ever has to support someone and see families that don't get to, like Diane, see their child or grandchild grow up. Or even the children and grandchildren that face the long-term effects of even surviving, because it is difficult. But thanks for being here, Bronwyn. Did you want to say anything? You're welcome.
Thank you, Krista. Say?
I mean,
Krista,
it's just a disease that, as Krista said, you don't realize it until it gets home. Difference.
and as I laid in my prayer, our children are our treasures. We don't want to see any of them suffer. So whatever we can do to protect our children, to bring awareness to diseases, to eradicate things that harm them, we're a better society for doing so. We need to do whatever we can do, humanity, bring these children healthy results, bring them the medicines, trying to eradicate this disease the best we can do so. So thank you for being here. We have a proclamation we'd like to present to you. And thank you for bringing your organization to our awareness. It's amazing work that you're doing. And we'll continue to support organizations such as yourself. Thank you. Anything?
I don't know if I have anything profound. With all the jobs that we do and all this stuff that, most of our stuff is about budgets and about, grand scheme, but underneath it all, it's always about people. And whether we're talking about hunger awareness or whether we're talking about childhood cancer, we obviously, Krista's our controller, so we meet with her every week about something or other. And but there are other times that we have meetings with her and she's like, I'm not here as the controller, I'm here as someone who's been touched by childhood cancer. So we all have our stories, and above and beyond, or I guess underneath of what we all do, we all have our connections to society and our connections with each other. And it's important that we remember this. And as Scott talked about 9/11, that the bad times in our society tend to bring us together. And it's when, we just saw what happened up in Trout Run and the great response that we got up there. And it's kind of in the passive, easy times that we just seem to like to fight. So it's unfortunate that, as Krista said, that things like childhood cancer create lifelong friendships. And it's just unfortunate that we couldn't. It so often in our society takes bad things to bring us together. But yeah, for whatever that's worth.
Thank you.
The doctor doesn't have to talk.
All right.
They're gonna say dominoes.
Okay, we have a service award today, 20 years. Director.
Hi. You're used to being up at the podium. Think of it as a,
Maybe before, hey, Krista, before we get started, and your guest back there, Maya is a survivor herself.
I am. Yes,
Yep.
37 years.
So-
Yeah. I was diagnosed when I was 6 months old. I had ALL as well. And by 1986, 87, I was in remission, but then you have the maintenance for 5 years. And the lifelong effects of it, for sure. I mean, I'm learning that as I'm getting older. I have thyroid disease as a result of it. They're thinking that's linked. I participate in a lot of studies. Leukemia Society, they have long-term follow-up studies. I do it every year as a way to help and give back. And I'm blessed, but not everyone is. So
Thank you.
thank you.
I hear me knock. So, we're recognizing you for 20 years of service to the county.
Survived, yes.
Another type of survivor.
Right.
Wow, 20 years. I began serving the residents, businesses, and departments of Lycoming County in September 2004 as the grants administrator within the Fiscal Services Department. Sure do have a number of grants that Maya has to administer that help offset the costs of the services the county provides. This is no easy task either. Grants are cumbersome, complicated, and many times provide little time to complete them based when they're announced. Maya's talents were certainly recognized in very short order. January 2005, she had more responsibility as the county's grant administrator and purchasing. Certainly wanted to make sure the county was in compliance with all state and federal purchasing legal requirements. I developed a much needed purchasing manual that provided a roadmap for county departments to procure required services, contracts, equipment, and supplies in the most economical means possible. As Maya continued to hone her skills, keep the county on the proper path for all things grant purchasing related, it was determined to add more to her level of responsibility by voting her to grants purchasing and property manager in April of 2012. I was certainly the go-to professional for a wide array of county business and operational requirements. Recognized for her contributions to the county and her strive for excellence in all aspects of contracting, grants, property management, fiscal business operations, Maya was promoted to the position of Chief Procurement Officer for the county in March of 2014. Her drive to develop a more comprehensive and transparent system of doing the county's business in several key areas continued to be paramount to the county's successful services delivery. I was fortunate to begin working with Maya in January of 2015 when I began my role as the Director of Administration and Chief Clerk for the county. Together, Maya and I have worked on a myriad of initiatives, projects, and policy updates that continue to keep the county on the proper path for all procurement, purchasing, property management, grant-related activities. Based on the important role that Maya played in county operations, I recommended and gained approval from the Board of Commissioners in 2019 that Maya's position and responsibilities be placed under the Commissioner's office. Maya was instrumental in developing a path forward with how we did business under the constraints of the COVID pandemic, on where normal procurement purchasing lacked clarity.
Yes, that
I
was
think that's
not a
the
fun
next
time.
statement.
Yes.
I and I sought relief through the PA House of Representatives for lack of guidance when it came to the bid threshold requirements once the COVID emergency declarations ended. Not that we were successful, but at least we attempted it. Certainly told our side of the story, unfortunately. She was instrumental again in assisting the county with selecting a new insurance broker and Pennsylvania's first partnership county health center, where we broke down the barriers to access to healthcare dedicated solely to our employees, their family members, and our retirees. This was a massive undertaking that continues to improve the health outcomes for all involved in the program. These are just a few of the highlights of what Maya has accomplished on behalf of the residents and the departments of Lycoming County. I'm sure as many of you can reflect on the many that Maya has assisted each of you, respective organizations, carry out your operations team.
So with new challenges bring new opportunities. The county went through a major restructuring of the county's financial operations as different financial functions like general ledger, accounts payable, and payroll were transitioned to the controller's office. You had to figure out what to do with the other pieces. So in March of 2024, I was selected and promoted to lead the county's Office of Financial Management. Not sure exactly what that was going to be, but I was up for the challenge. And another challenge is this: build that office from the ground up, pretty much. Figure out what we need to get folks, the right folks in. From what I can tell you, that the team that she assembled is performing extremely well. We're on track to have a budget process that is accurate, supports strategic priorities that advance the goals and objectives of county departments while identifying risk and return on investment. I can tell you one thing: I'm excited for what's about to come from Maya's leadership of this team, and as we continue to improve the communication and relationships with the departments, all things fiscal. So thank you for your service.
Thank you for the kind words.
Thank you. Commissioners?
I would add to that, I've known Maya for a long time as a local distribution company. A lot of my sales team worked with her over the years.
Yeah.
Probably not always favorable comments about her, but that meant she was doing her job for the county. So I think that.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm a negotiator.
But it's been a pleasure. Obviously I've only been here for 7 months working with Maya. But you see the dedication on a daily basis of what she does for the county. It's no wonder she's been here 20 years. She's definitely dedicated to the county. Her expertise, as the director said, in building a new team for a new position that the three of us created, has just gone very well. She's definitely an employee that I can count on for any answer to any question I may have. And always wanted to jump in, as director also said, jump in and find a solution. So I greatly appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that I have in you someone that I can trust on a day-to-day with the county's business.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just think Maya and I got off on a good note. When we're new and you're just kind of talking to people, sometimes you ask them how long you've been here. I said almost 20 years, and I was like, 20 years? How old are you? Because
There we go.
I didn't think she was old enough. I didn't think she looked old enough to be here. So she was happy
he's my
about that
favorite.
response.
Yes.
When you're around Maya, like you said, she's dedicated. Like you can tell that she cares, and she does a good job. We have lots of people around here that do a good job. But the thing I appreciate most about her, this is always her. I've never seen her in a different demeanor. She's always pleasant. When you have meetings with Maya, she knows her stuff, but it's going to be peaceful. You're going to work it out. And because a lot of the stuff that we talk about with Maya, this is kind of down in the weeds. It's not the sexy stuff. It's not stuff that you're doing. You're getting a lot of public fanfare for. It's about grants and things that sometimes take a long time. And it's necessary, but it's way behind the scenes. And she does it without fanfare, but she's always wonderful to work with. And that's kind of what I appreciate.
Thank you, Maya. I've worked with you next door, and now as commissioner, been with you the whole 20 years, minus 1 year. And your professionalism, your commitment to the taxpayers, you're always looking out for the taxpayer. Many times brought things to us and say, hey, this doesn't sound right. This isn't quite right. We need to investigate this. Procurement law better than anybody. I think a lot of times people go to you across the state and ask you, you work exceptionally well with CEDACOG and all the different professional agencies. The Act 13 monies, everybody you're always professional with, your staff's professional with. And we're blessed to have you as an employee. The taxpayers have definitely reaped your expertise.
I appreciate all the kind words.
Yeah, thank you. So we have a,
I'm not a person of, I'm kind of I hate this kind of stuff actually, but I'm so grateful that you did that. But I'm a person that just likes to do the good job, but I'm not, I'm just one person. It's my staff. It's everyone I deal with on a daily. It's the commissioners. It's the department heads. That's what makes you look good. When you have competent staff, and you know, Matt, had the pleasure since he's come on board to work with him. And you know, you just build off of that. You're taking other people's expertise and you're building that. And that's honestly what has formed me to where I'm at today. And if you're not humbled by that, and have that mindset, then there's no growth here. And that I think has been fulfilling for me, is that being able to take all of that experience and grow from it. Not everyone does, you know, but I think for me personally, I just want to thank the board. What has been the most important to me is not really the job, although it is. It's just having the flexibility to be a good mom, and then being able to also be a good employee and have the ability to grow. So there's no price tag on having flexibility to be a mom and do it well. It's hard enough, but then to have a career on top of it. And you guys have entrusted me to do that. That's something I can't thank you enough for. So thank you.
thank you. How many grants do you keep track of?
Oh, well, now I think we're close to 100. We actually are starting to go through all that now because we're doing really in-depth training with the staff that we have, because we've had some, you know, the transition. But yeah, we have well over 100. And that's just, some of them are our own active, some are pass through, some, you know, but yeah, it's a constant oversight of those, you know, grants.
Then on top of that, we had the American Rescue Plan, CARES Act, we got a lot extra.
Yes. Yeah. It's, I tell you, I think honestly, the biggest struggle was COVID. When we had those CRBG funds and just COVID in general, there was absolutely no guidance, and you had 2 months to expend like millions of dollars. I think we had $13 million to put out. We're doing everything via phone with our coordination update meetings, you know. And I think, you know, it's that team. There's so many, like you said, great people here to work with that are, you know, super smart and talented. And it's been a great ride to work with all of them.
I recall during that time, there was one that they gave us a 48-hour notice that you had to turn it around, or we would have received the monies.
Yes.
There was,
Yeah, I had to put in an application. And at that point in time, I had kids learning from home. You know, it was the craziest time. I mean, we all survived it, but you look back on it like, wow, how did we all get through that? You know, it was definitely a difficult time for me, and I'm sure everyone else that was going through the same life experiences as well. So.
thank you.
Did assemble a bunch of historical photos
Oh.
that I was going to display.
You're lucky.
I told him that. I said, don't do that to her. We'll share that with her privately.
You guys are all saying, oh, yeah.
But I won't give up my sources.
It's like yesterday was my wife's birthday. When we went to dinner last night, her mother produced her 4th grade picture. She had the bowl cut with the straight. She says, do not show that picture to anyone. Anyone.
I'm
So,
sure mine were back in the day. I can remember being well, I am a goofball. I just don't let my staff knows that, but we used to do, it was like building, like HR would do a thing, team building exercises. And I remember one year we had, it was a Mexican theme. And we had sombreros, and you had to create, I'm sure, do you remember all this, Krista, when we did all that? But I remember making a cardboard donkey and riding it around.
right?
There were some things that looked a lot like Halloween. Let's just say
Yes.
that.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. So,
Thank you. I'd like to get a picture with you.
can I get one with my team as well then afterwards?
Absolutely.
All right, perfect. They're always freezing. So.
ISA, little mini, but my. That's right.
Staff,
Yeah, if I sat when I
come on out.
don't know, if I have to do this, you have to do this too.
That's mine. Working with all of the doors of buckle. I like the series.
As far as you know. He does, I'm trying to stay centered.
Any but my. Oh, thank you.
That clears out the room. Okay, bid openings, Krista.
Have a bid today for the ADA ramp replacement. There were 2 received. First from CK Manufacturing LLC. Submitted amount was $52,764. The second was Kevin E. Raker Construction in the amount of $83,661.
And this is for out at the farm, Lycoming, right?
I just have it in there as ADA ramp replacement with this system. Is that, oh, thank you.
District Justice White.
It's not as clear as it used to be because I don't have all the paperwork in front of me.
Okay.
Apologies.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You're not done with me.
Nope, we got reports.
First, we have the vote to approve accounts payable cash requirement report for invoices due through September 11th. To be paid on September 4th in the amount of $1,187,548 in the following breakdown: from the general fund, $918,740.18 for a percentage of 77.36. From grants, Act 13, $34,422.76 for a percentage of 2.9. From RMS, $234,385.06 for a percentage of 19.74. That would be it.
Okay. I have a motion to accept.
I will make a motion.
I'll second.
Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, side? Aye.
We also have a credit card cash requirement report for the purchases from 7/25/24 through 8/25/24 in the amount of $11,771.84.
Okay, motion to accept.
I will make that motion.
I'll second.
Comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, side?
Aye.
Could I make a request to move the salary board ahead of the information items because it affects the one information item for the hire in my office?
Yes.
Thank you.
I will recess Commissioners' Public Meeting for the salary board and begin the salary board this time.
The first item is vote to approve the salary board minutes from the August 15th meeting.
I have a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. All in favor, side?
Aye.
Next, we have a motion to put the full-time accountant one position on a temporary hold.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. All in favor, side?
Aye.
Aye.
And then I am requesting that we add a temporary accountant position that will be part-time at a pay grade 9, not to exceed 1,000 hours.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. All in favor, side?
Aye. That would be it.
Okay, adjourn the salary board this time, reconvene the Commissioners' Public Meeting.
You.
Thank you.
Oh, items, delete. Wayfinding plan.
Good morning.
Morning.
Lycoming County would like to announce the Greater Williamsport Area Trail System Wayfinding Plan Survey. This is our second public survey. We conducted our first public survey in March of 2023. That was just to gather initial information from the public on how they use the trail and what they would like to see within this wayfinding plan. And this survey will consist of additional information of how people utilize the trail, their preferred types of signage, aspects to improve access points and on-trail navigation. On behalf of Lycoming County Susquehanna Greenway Partnership and Merge, our design consultant on the project, we appreciate your feedback in the public outreach portion of the Greater Williamsport Area Trail System Wayfinding Project. And the county system is more of a regional branding, and then we still will keep our municipal or local trails with their same name branding. It's just a unified design and how these things are presented along the trail system.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Maya just stepped out to take a phone call. You want to wait for her to come back on that?
Yeah, I'll skip.
Skip that one, return that when she returns.
Mike, elected officials.
Excuse me. Good morning. Morning. I got two personnel action items. For the courts, magisterial district judge Beakley, Rebecca Evans, administrative specialist, pay grade 5, $18.11 per hour. That's 75 hours per pay period with an anticipated start date of September 23, 2024. And then in the controller's office, Noah Hunt, accountant, pay grade 9, $22.39 per hour, not to exceed 1,000 hours annually, with an anticipated start date September 9th, 2024.
Yeah, motion to accept the two actions.
I will make the motion.
I'll second.
All fair side?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, we'll recess Commissioners Public Meeting one time.
Commission.
Yeah.
I'll take care of Maya's info.
Okay, we'll go back to the information item first.
This is just to acknowledge that the county will be requesting proposals for a hazard mitigation plan consultant.
Okay, no problem.
I took care of yours.
Is there anything you want to add to that?
I did the info.
Hazard mitigation plan.
I'll take care of the others.
Yeah, I mean, Kelsey's here, she was, but basically it's all grant funded.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Did your kid have a test today? Is that why?
No, we actually,
Wow.
yeah.
Feels better. Kelsey, is there anything you want to add to it? Okay,
So Matt, do you mind? doing
No, I got it.
Okay, thank you so much.
yep, thank you.
Yeah.
Hope he feels better soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, we will recess Commissioner Public Meeting at this time for the Board of Assessments revisions, and we'll convene the Board of Assessments revisions at this time.
Morning, Commissioners. I'm seeking your approval on 2 real estate refunds. The first one is for Robert Palk. The subdivision was recorded 10 plus years ago, and the public right-of-way was never excluded from the right-of-way, from the acreage. So we are refunding back 5 years plus current year. That amount is $105.89. The second one, I will give you a background, and I've worked here since
Let's
1997.
take these separate, okay?
Excuse me?
Can we take these separate? For the actions?
Separate, yeah.
If you want to do them separate or if you want to do them both, that's up to
Yeah,
you.
let's separate. So a motion to accept the first one.
I'll make the motion on the Robert Park.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so the next one is for Muncie Green. This was, they filed an appeal in 2019 to appeal the value. Brought an appraisal before the Board of Assessment Appeals in October of 2019. The appraisal was for 1.9 million and the board denied it. So which meant they had that right to file with the Court of Common Pleas within 30 days, which they did. So we had to get an appraisal. But 2020, we hit COVID, things shut down. We eventually did get an appraisal for 3.6 million. And that took a while to get because we were waiting for information from Muncie Green. I think you're nodding your head because you know the background of this. And we went into negotiations. Then something happened with their attorney on their side that they basically quit, left the position. I think we went through like 3 or 4 attorneys on that side, right, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is why it has stretched out to 2024 before we finally settled through the courts. In all the years I've been working here, I've never had a real estate appeal that went to court that has lasted this long, which is almost 5 years. So this is the reason why the amount is so high, because we're refunding from 2020 to 2024 the amount of 34,741 cents, and that is just the county portion. So it's taken us 5 years to settle with Muncie Green.
I'd like to table this at this time for a week because I have several questions on this that I would like to consult with the solicitor and their 2 commissioners.
Okay,
So we'll bring this back on the agenda next week.
okay.
Okay?
You wish to have a scheduled appointment to discuss this further with me, or?
We'll include you in on the meeting.
Okay,
Okay?
because it's like required by law, I have to refund
Okay.
and everything.
But there's something else that is attached to this that I think you're not aware of. I know that our solicitor's aware of it,
Okay,
but I want to
We'll
make
be
sure,
okay.
yeah,
okay.
I want to make sure that the
Please include
refunds the
me in on the
proper
meeting
amount.
then.
Okay?
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
So a motion to table the second one.
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All fair side?
Aye.
So kind of got a little out of whack.
Yeah, so hang on a second. We will adjourn the Board of Assessments revision at this time. We'll recess Commissioners' Public Meeting at this time, and I believe we'll go back to personnel actions.
Yep. Okay. Just wanted to make a note. So on 5.3, the commissioners voted to approve. There was no requirement to approve this because those are elected official actions. Guys are just see those as
Information.
info items.
Got it.
Okay, thank you.
Now we're on to personal actions.
Approve the following personnel actions as conditional offers of employment subject to the successful completion of background check and all other employment conditions as outlined here in attachment A. For the pre-release center, Josh Johnson, resident supervisor 2, union position, full-time, $20.51 per hour, 80 hours per pay period with an anticipated transfer date September 15, 2024.
To accept,
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
all fair side.
Aye.
Thank you. And thank you.
Okay, moving on to action items. 9.1, Monica, are you online?
Is not,
All right, I got it.
okay.
So commissioners seeking approval on the CDCOG CDBG FY 2023 Professional and Administrative Services Agreement amount of $121,000. This is a 2024 approved budgeted item. If you recall, we went through this briefly last week with CDCOG.
This is 2024 budget item, as you stated, so
Yep.
motion,
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
all fair side?
Aye.
Aye.
9.2, Kelsey.
Kelsey,
Good morning, commissioners. Today I just have for you the BRIC grant agreement. And that is something we already voted on a couple of weeks ago. If you remember, it's for the hazard mitigation plan. There was some language changes on FEMA's side, so we just have to get it re-signed due to the changes in the language.
okay. Motion accept,
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
all fair side?
Aye.
Aye.
9.3, you said nobody's on the.
No.
Okay. This one's for Nancy from JPO. Commissioner seeking your approval on the agreement with Center County Youth Services Bureau. This is a 2024 budgeted item. Juvenile probation placements. This is group home, residential, and independent living. For at-risk youths and their families. It's a per diem TAPE program, storm youth program, $260 a day. YSB supervised independent living program at $84 a day.
Okay.
There were increases. as with all of these as needed.
Motion accept.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. All fair side? Aye.
Okay, moving on for Maya, she's got the rest. So, Commissioners seeking your approval to ratify the Emergency Solutions Grant Program in the amount of $1,953,500.
Motion accept.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. All fair side?
Aye.
Okay, 9.5, seeking your approval on the change order with Jane and Construction Specialty. And that is for the credit in the amount of $15,000.
Motion accept.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. All fair side?
Aye.
Point 6, seeking your approval on the change order with H&P Construction in the amount of $3,576. This is a 2024 budget item.
Motion accept.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. All fair side?
Aye.
Commissioner seeking your approval of the agreement with Lycoming County Industrial Authority. This is a 2024 budget item.
Motion accept.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. All fair side?
Aye.
I'm Commissioner seeking your approval on the agreement with West Branch Drug Abuse Commission and Williamsport Family Medical Center for medically assisted treatment. Approved budget.
Motion accept.
I'll make the motion.
Second. All fair side?
Aye.
Commissioner seeking your approval on the agreement with Eric Williams Esquire. This is not an approved budget item, but funds are available. I recall this is a attorney for the public defender.
That's correct. And motion accept.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. All fair side? Aye.
And same with 9.10, seeking your approval on agreement with Timothy Reeds Esquire. Not an approved 2024 budget item, but funds are available.
And it's also for the public defender's office. Yes. Motion to accept.
I'll make the motion.
All fair side?
Aye.
Okay. Have anything?
No, I would, make a small apology that I had a little rough time getting through the cancer one. Very close friend of mine and my goddaughter passed away with cancer. That's why I was a little more emotional than normal.
Okay, public comment. Yes. Morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, Director, Solicitor. I promise to keep this brief. Yesterday, I sat down with our district attorney.
Could you identify yourself, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Chase Bladoff. I'm with the WVIA, Board of Local. I sat down with Tom Marino and talked about these planned juvenile detention facility. And he had mentioned that he had several meetings with you guys, and I was curious to hear your thoughts on this, as well as any grants that the county is seeking and who is drafting the designs for this project.
Yeah, I guess the comment would be, we're not that far along to draft plans. There are multiple people that are involved. The district attorney is in favor of it. So we are not against it. We're in basically the informational gathering, because there's when you're dealing with juveniles, there's so much, there's more red tape than there is when you're dealing with adults. So we have to figure out liability aspects, insurance aspects, and just what the feasibility is. We know there's a need. Our juvenile probation office has told us there's a need for it statewide. And the district attorney obviously knows that well too, and that's why they're in favor of it. And we think if it works, there's a lot of benefits to it, but there's a lot of I don't want to say hoops we have to jump through, but there's a lot of boxes we have to check off just to make sure that it's reasonable, it's feasible, because, it's just a challenge. It's when you're dealing with juveniles, it's always a challenge.
There is definitely a need. There's a need nationally, there's a need statewide, there's a need locally. But there's a reason why many have shut down. A lot of it has to do with liability reasons. So we're in the very initial stages of how large, how many, going to manage it. It's going to be what umbrella it's going to be under. So it's a very infant stages of planning. So but we're in agreement that there is definitely a need for it, and it has to be addressed at some point, because what it's doing to the local juvenile offices and the system, all the different court systems across the Commonwealth, it's taxing resources, it's taxing people doing transportations, the sheriff's office, the juvenile offices, the burdens there. And so we have to, instead of putting our head in sand, we have to figure out a way to try to resolve the issue. And one thing about Lycoming County, we're very good at solving problems. Are often looked at as a model across the state for different programs across the state. So this is another challenge for the county, and we'll work with all the officials and trying to resolve it.
I think commissioners, we're in the process of exploring grant opportunities for conduct of a feasibility study that'll help identify the parameters and things that we're take a look at program.
And I would just say, I concur with everything that was said. What I would add is that, as Commissioner Metzger said, we are definitely the county that can figure it out if it's going to get figured out. We have some underutilized facilities that we want to take a look at. If this is a way to utilize those facilities, where staff comes from and all that, but it's definitely on the table. Definitely, support of DA Marino pushing us to also take a look at it. So we appreciate his input. As we move forward, hopefully we'll have something that is very needed and a value to our youth.
That's all I have, guys. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Any other public comment from the audience? Any online?
Yes, a few. Thomas Adams, good morning, Lycoming County. Thank you for giving voice and recognition to our wonderful charities. My heart aches for the parents of children that must deal with cancer. Thank you, Krista, and others, for your strength to have gone through such a nightmare. Yet because of the love for Christ, you have turned that pain to an avenue for helping, encouraging, comforting, caring, a light of hope for others. As our days seem to be darker because of the haters of light, shine brighter than ever. As darkness hates the light. Witness the constant attacks on our rights, especially speech and religion or conscience. It's strange, the only religion that people seem to be so concerned about silencing is Christianity. Or we see Christian principles and long-standing rule of law and logic ignored, the more dangerous our world becomes. The enemies of liberty always attack biblical Christianity, factual history. Those people realize religion drives. Hey, Tom Adams, familiar with the constitutional principle of separation of church and state. We respect your beliefs. Not all of us share them. It's not for you to proselytize here. Back to Tom Adams. Politics. What lies in the hearts of men will affect how they govern, what they will allow to influence their families, friends. Great job, Maya. Thank you for your opinion. I will not. Back to Dave Well. No, you're wrong. That's what makes secular America the greatest country. It's informed and as you want to be. The rest of us are free to ignore your ignorance. Thomas. Big David here. I think the flooding issues can mostly avoided if our state and federal offices support programs to clean up our waterways, roadways, hillsides along these areas. And we just locally, but if our state and federal officials really cared, they would stop wasting upon millions of dollars on green energy, carbon capture, and programs like that. With Thomas Adams, the myriad of benefits of cleaning our landscape are immense. I apologize that my comments have since. But I apologize.
Okay, thank you. We have completed our agenda, so our next meeting will be Thursday, September 12th, 24, 10 a.m. right here in this room. Thank you. Got a question? You want to stay around?
Yeah.